everyone. Hi, my name is Iman Elfira binti Shahil Azhar. My student ID is 2019994213 and I am from MLG 1201B. My lecturer is the beautiful Miss Afifah binti Fadlullah. Okay, so the short story that I got was Vanka by Anton Chekhov. So the short story is based in Moscow. Before this, Vanka lived with his mother and grandfather in the village, but the mother died and the reason was not mentioned in the short story. But the reason why the grandfather did not take Vanka as under his care was not mentioned as well. But you know, Vanka is a 9-year-old orphan and he is currently living under the care of Al-Yahin, the cruel shoemaker. Why is he cruel? We will get into it later. Okay, so the short story starts with Vanka writing a letter to his grandfather in a dimly lit room in one night. So in his letter, he mentioned how he is mistreated and how he is malnourished and how the master, Al-Yahin, mistress, and the workmen are like abusing him. So proof of so is that he mentioned that one time when he was rocking the master's and mistress's child, he accidentally fell asleep. So what they did was that they pulled his hair and he got hit by a shoe stretcher, if I'm not mistaken. And also the workmen, they ordered him to take vodka and also steal a cucumber from the master, which then he got caught and got beaten with anything that came to his hand, which I think is super terrible. If I were to be in his position, I would have committed suicide. Done and deal. So anyways, that's my opinion. But I think the character here is very strong because instead of like breaking apart, he wrote down to his grandfather, which we will get into in a bit. But so he wrote the letter. He wrote the letter talking about the abuse that he's gone through, talking about how he wishes that his grandfather were here. So it's basically he is going back, flashback, and then being snapped back into reality, which I think is flash forward. So why does he does this? In my belief, he does this to remember how peaceful it was back in the day when he used to live with his grandfather, whose name is Konstantin Makarich, and had a helper called Olga. Both commit to this family called the Ziravev. So the grandfather works as a night watchman. So it is quite a noble job. Anyways, he wrote the letter explaining what has been going on, what has been done to him, also how he wishes that he were here, how he remembers all the good times he's had with his grandfather, the Christmas time, because it's tradition for his grandfather to go to the forest to get some Christmas tree and like chop it down, and how I see it is that he is an irresponsible drunken man, because who does that? If you need to read the story, because I'm not going to share any spoilers, but I'm going to tell you that the grandfather, in my belief, is that he is an irresponsible man. But as a kid, and Vanka is a kid, he does not understand all these negative things. So after he's done writing the letter to his grandfather, he folded the letter and put it in an envelope. Being a 9-year-old boy, do you really remember your address, your home address? Let alone if you're a boy, you don't really remember anything because you're a boy. Anyways. Vanka doesn't seem to remember the address, so he just naively puts to grandfather in the village. I mean, it is never going to be delivered, but he puts some thought into it and puts Konstantin Makarich, the name of the grandfather. So he runs to the town. And he runs to the town to send the letter. He runs to the town to drop off the letter into the post box. But then he remembers the conversation he has had with the shopman at the butcher's, how these letters were sent all over the world by drunken drivers, and he does not think much of it because he did not even put any specific address, but he is hopeful that the address will be sent to his grandfather. So when he got back, and within an hour or so, he got a good sleep, he got a peaceful sleep, and then he dreamt of how his grandfather is reading the letter he had sent to the cooks and all. So it's quite sad. So my opinion is that the ending is quite heartbreaking because we know that the letter is never going to be sent because it does not have any specific address. So it is good to see that a young boy is faithful and hopeful like Vanka, but to be realistic, it is quite sad because we know that there is no hope for him to survive in that condition if it continued to persist, as he had mentioned in the letter that he might die if this were to go on any further. So it's really sad. I see the theme set by the author is that he wanted to highlight the plight of the orphan, how they can be mistreated, how some are malnourished, and this is not new. It is known that orphans are to be mistreated like that. So it is good for us that we understand, that we are informed that this is a real thing, and we definitely need to do something to overcome such problems. I noticed that in the short story, the author used a lot of imagery to give the readers a mental image to make them see what it is like, especially during the part where Vanka followed his grandfather to chop down the tree. So it really adds some spice into it, you know? So I do recommend this short story to everyone who wants to understand what is it like to be mistreated like that, because the story is told from the first person's point of view, from Vanka's point of view. So you are connected with the character because in that way you are reading it as if that you are writing the piece. So yeah, thank you for watching. I really hope you guys go and have a read on it because it is an interesting read, and I hope you guys love it as much as I do. Bye.